Disclaimer: the images used in this material are solely for entertainment purposes and do not reflect or depict the actual stories, events, or characters from the Torah, the Hebrew Bible. Any resemblance or similarities to the content of the Torah are purely coincidental. The purpose of this content is to provide a creative and imaginative interpretation, which should not be construed as a factual or historical representation of the biblical narratives. The stories, teachings, and values presented in the Torah are of deep cultural, religious, and historical significance and should be understood and studied within their proper context. It is recommended to consult authentic religious texts, scholars, or trusted sources for a comprehensive understanding of the Torah and its teachings.
Does the Torah mention UFOs? There are certainly parts of the Torah that discuss things that are not what we would call normal. As we discussed in last night's lecture, King Solomon was the king not only of people, but he was king of over all creatures on earth, all of the animals, and even the demons. In fact, the Gemara in Masechet Gitin says that he utilized demons for different things. He was also the king of creatures that are of different shapes and live in different places underground. And he brought some of them to show it to people, but he was not able to bring them back to their habitat because they live literally under the earth. There were very, very small creatures. There were creatures that had multiple heads. All types of interesting types of creatures. And Shlomo HaMelech, if you read the Midrashim and you also even look at some of the writings, you see that Shlomo HaMelech had a lot of interesting conversations and experiences with what we would call the abnormal. Now, the Gemara mentions that there are certain types of creatures that we would define them as aliens because they're different from us. They seem like they're from a different planet, but the truth is that they're actually from our planet. There's a certain types of animal that is a very vicious, horrific animal that anyone that comes near it, doesn't matter what it is, big or small, will see its end very quickly. It would kill anything. Lions, people, doesn't make a difference what it is. Meaning, if you don't kill this animal, it kills the person, it kills whatever is next to it. And this animal, the only way to kill it is if you shoot it in its belly button, but not in what people think. Why the belly button? Because its belly button is connected to the ground. There's apparently some type of tube that it's connected to the ground, and it can travel very fast, and it's very, very vicious and strong. And the only way to kill it is by shooting some type of an arrow, or at least in those days an arrow, disconnecting it from the ground. Otherwise, there's no way to kill it. There are also different creatures that are very, very small. I'm not talking about small like short people. I'm talking about like a microphone small, like tiny little things. And all types of other interesting creatures that exist. There was actually a time where there was a person that had two people. It wasn't a person with two heads. It was two people connected. Came to Shlomo HaMelech, and actually I think it was three people. Three people in one. Came to Shlomo HaMelech and said that they had an inheritance, and one of the people, even though they're all connected, feels like he deserves more than the others. And they were arguing among them who deserves the most. One said that he deserves, the other one says he deserves because he's really the dominant one, the other ones are inferior. Shlomo HaMelech cleverly solved this problem by saying, simple, no problem, I could just pour hot water on you. If he feels it, then I know that you guys are really connected. If he doesn't feel it, then yeah, you deserve everything. So, Shlomo HaMelech was able to deal with all types of things. The point being is that a lot of the things that people see on the internet and so on, aside from it being CGI and all types of graphics, which today, Baruch Hashem, with new AI and all types of new softwares that are available out there, you could literally make anything you want in a matter of seconds. You could put any person out there, and you could just simply record their voice and for 1 second, and some people say not even record their voice for 1 second. You could literally just use all types of voices, and you could have this person say anything you want in any language. Or you could have a person take a picture of a person, and they could literally turn it into a film of that person doing whatever it is that you want him to do. They took, I believe it was the chief idol worshiper, the Pope, and they put some type of clothes on him from some type of fashion company, and they did the same thing with the Donald Trump, and they did it with a bunch of things. So the point is that today you could do a lot of things. Needless to say, this is not new right now. There has been things that are similar to this already for years, where you could use all types of CGI, computer technology, and simply also just the people that know how to do arts and crafts. They can make things, and they can make it look like there's a UFO, there's an alien in the world. So that's number one. Number two, even if something does exist, someone saw something, it doesn't necessarily mean that this thing came from a different planet. Because as I said, Shlomo HaMelech had access to all types of creatures that other people saw. He brought them in front of people, in front of thousands of people, that we would call them aliens if we saw them, but they're not aliens. They live in this world. They just don't live in New York and in California, on the 15th floor. They live in different places, underground, in different parts of the world that are uninhabited. There is very, very little knowledge about the world. Unlike what people think, where people are already trying to, explore outer space. The truth is that the majority of the planet, of our planet, is uninhabited, unexplored, unknown. No one has been there. No one lives there. No one knows anything about it. And I'm not just talking about Antarctica and Greenland where it's all ice. I'm talking about the jungle, places in Africa. There's a huge amount of land all around the world, even in America, that's completely unknown to anybody because no one's been there. So people think that just because something is on some map, therefore we know everything that's there. It's completely false. So there's a lot of things that we don't know about the world. That's number one. Next thing is, you also have to know that reality is not dictated by what people think. Rather, reality is what's written by God. If it's written in the Torah, it exists. If it's not written in the Torah, it simply doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. Now, I don't mean that it doesn't exist in a sense that it's literally doesn't exist, meaning that when I say it doesn't exist, it means that it'll never interact with you, me, and the larger part of society. So if there are, let's say, civilizations of people, or aliens, or whatever you want to call it, that live on some planet far away, don't think that just because you saw in the movies that those people or aliens that live in other planets are one day going to get really upset and really hungry, and they're going to decide to use their advanced technology to come to Earth out of all places in the universe and conquer the land and take the energy and kidnap the people and all types of stupid things that people see in movies. None of that will ever happen. How do I know for a fact without knowing the future? Simple. It's not written in the Torah. Anything that's relevant to our lives throughout all of history, from the beginning of the world until the Mashiach comes, is written in the Torah. The future, the present, and the past are all in the Torah. And nowhere will you ever find that some alien terrorist in a really big ship is going to come to Earth and shoot people, or eat people, or whatever crazy movies come up with. This is all nonsense. This is all shtuyot. This is all things that people make up in their imagination because they have nothing better to do. So none of that will ever happen. The same thing with a lot of these sci-fi movies where they give people the imagination that the world is going to be destroyed by all types of things. None of that stuff exists. There are certainly prophecies about the end of days of how there's going to be a big war, how there's going to be certain earthquakes and major disasters, but all of that is detailed by the prophets. Anything that's not there does not exist. It only exists in people's imagination. So if the question is, are there creatures that look different than us? The answer is 100% yes. We know that for a fact because we see it in the Torah. Are there creatures that exist in, let's say, some type of civilization in other planets? That's a possibility. Will they ever come here? No. Will they ever influence our life? Absolutely not. Why? It's not written in the Torah. Anyone that tells you otherwise is simply making stuff up. Simply making stuff up. So it's important for you to know that reality is determined by what's written in the Torah and not what's written in Hollywood.